Hey everyone, how are you? Can you let me know if the mic is okay? We're gonna get started in just a minute. Hello everyone, how are you? Let me know if you can see okay or if you have any issues hearing me. Hi everyone. Sorry, just getting set up right now. Hi, how are you, Mary? Are you here to do some Python? So I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you everybody for being patient. I was having some technical difficulties and I'm just tired from work. Hi Vin, thank you. We're gonna be doing some Python. So let me see. So first we're going to, I just need to check to make sure. Yay! Okay, let me see if I can fix this a little bit because there is noise. So let me fix the noise and then I'll get started. Sorry about that. Let's see. Hey ISI, how are you? Okay, I turned noise suppression on. Does that sound better? Hi Sakil, how are you? I'm good, thank you. I'm a bit tired from work, so this will be a shorter session. Hi SBTV. For people in the chat, does that sound better? Hey Adam, how are you? Cybersecurity, cool. Sound better? Okay, cool. Alright, so I'm going to get started. Okay, thank you. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and, hi Karens. Let's do strings. I am also streaming simultaneously on the other app. If you are having trouble seeing anything, I'm sorry about my puppy being loud. Thank you for the flower, Karens. It's not very hard to learn. It's one of the easier languages to start learning. Yay, Hedgehog, I'm happy for you. I hope you're doing okay with it. Let me see. So, okay, so we have intro to Python, so let's do strings. And then as we get going, I might have to stop looking at the chat just because it gets a little bit busy. I already have resources, zero cap. Thank you though. But if anybody in the chat is looking for resources, please feel free to post. I learned first in school. I learned Java, and then on my own, I taught myself Python. So I'm not as familiar with object-oriented in Python. I'm more familiar with object-oriented in Java. Yeah, I have to go back to JavaScript. Okay. Hi, Hansky. No worries. I'm working. Hi, Joel. How are you? Okay, So I'm trying to think. Let's do title equals, and then we'll say like some movie. I like Surf's Up. Okay, so this is gonna be a string. So string is like just some kind of text. I'm a full-time software engineer, yeah, Oliver. And then we can do something like a number. So we're gonna do an int, and it's gonna be a whole number. So let's go ahead and do year is 2007. I think Surf's Up came out in like 2007. And then this is an int, which is a whole number. Hi, Manny. Let's see. Cool. Hangman program. That's good. Alright, so we have a whole number here. I work with Java at work, and I'm a software engineer. Let's see, title, year, and then let's do a float. So a float is going to be, it's going to be a floating point number. JavaScript isn't too bad, but it's just like switching between languages can be difficult if you don't use them often enough. Pastille, it's okay. You'll get there. You just have to practice. Okay, so we have ticket underscore cost. Also notice that we are using all lowercase, and we're using underscores as spacing between the words, which is snake case. So Osvaldo, cool. Thank you, I appreciate it. Let's see. How long does it take to finish school? It can take 5 to 6 years if you do a bachelor's degree in computer science. Alright, so let's do list sets. And this live is for anybody who's interested in learning Intro to Python. So if you're not interested in learning Intro to Python, you're welcome to stay, but it's going to be Intro to Python. So we're not going to make it super complicated, or I'll do my best not to make it super complicated. So let's have a list. Let's have a list of flowers. Let's say we're going to use square brackets. I'm going to say roses, tulips, oops, and then peonies, Python is a programming language, so we're talking about learning to program. Okay, Python, gardenias. If anybody has suggestions for a flower, you could put it in the chat. For now, so does the 11-year-old want to learn Python? Dandelion, cool. Because like if the 11-year-old is not really interested in Python, it's always good to just focus on, you know, strengthening math skills. Whoop, what is going on? Sorry. Math skills and reading skills. Daffodils, lavender, sunflower. Thank you. The keyboard is a Keychron keyboard. Alright, so a list. I do not record on YouTube. Cool, Green Eyes. So my content isn't really directed towards younger kids because coding can be difficult, so it can be easy to get stuck. I would have to think about that, but there are resources available on the internet, and Python for Everyone is not a book that I'm familiar with, but there are a lot of books. It's just that the books aren't really like kid friendly a lot of times, so they might have more advanced concepts that are difficult for younger kids to understand. Yeah, that's like my biggest concern, because if he gets stuck, then he might get to a point where he's struggling too much, and at that point it would be better if he was working with somebody else who could help unstuck him. Okay, so a list is ordered, indexable, mutable, and allows duplicates. Yes, Python is great for Raspberry Pi. So I am a little bit... It's a little bit difficult to suggest, you know, applications or learning tools online because of the way that they work. So, you know, because they're like gamified and stuff like that. So some people, when they start moving away from gamified programs, then they have a hard time programming on their own. So that's why I'm concerned about, like, the person is 11 years old. If they already know Python, then Scratch is going to be difficult for them because it's more like code blocks. But yeah, Scratch is good for younger learners, especially if they're new to programming. MIT has a course for learning Scratch, but I think that it's usually like geared towards the parents. I'm gonna keep going, sorry about that. So lists are ordered, indexable, mutable, and allow duplicates. So ordered, meaning that they will always stay in the same order. So if I print out list, then we're gonna get roses, tulips, peonies, gardenias, dandelion, and lion, right? Why did I put lion? Okay, sorry. Okay, so then if we wanted to show that it's indexable, hyacinth. So if we wanted to show it was indexable, then I would just use the square brackets again. And then I'm going to use the index number. So in this case, Python is 0 indexed. So the first element will have the index 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So if I'm getting flowers at 0, then what will that give me? Dandelion, lion, I know. Roses. Yeah, it'll give you roses. So here we have roses printed to the console. Thank you, good job. Okay, and so if we wanted to, we can go ahead and add something to the, we could add something to the list. So let's append hyacinth. That's one of the names of the girls in Bridgerton, right? And then let's print out flowers again. And then we run, and now we have hyacinth added to the end. So append just means that we're adding it to the end of the list. So we could also do some other cool things, like we could do print flowers.pop, and then we'll print flowers. So here, when we do pop, what it does is that it removes the last element from the list, and it returns it. So this is going to give us that last element, so that we could, you know, do something with it. Yeah, you could also do -1 to get the last element in the list if you wanted to. Let's see, flowers at -1. But if we do flowers at -1, we're not removing it from the list. So this is really good for when you're doing some leak code or something like that. You might have to pop from the list. But if you're just getting a value at a specific index, then you would use this square brackets and put the index that you're trying to get. I'm sorry, Huda. Yeah, maps versus objects is another one. Pop removes it from the list, yeah. Okay, so let's keep going. So we could also do remove from the list. So we could remove flowers.remove, and we could remove a specific, oh sorry, let me flowers dot remove. We can remove peonies and we can print flowers. So now peonies is gone, right? How about if you do -1? -1 will get the last value from the list. So this is PyCharm. You don't have to buy the license for PyCharm. Yeah, the ::(-1) does reverse the list. So if we go ::(-1), let's see, then it will give us, it removed peonies already, but it'll give us hyacinth, dandelion, gardenias, tulips, and roses. Right now, this isn't supposed to produce anything. This is just teaching essentially the fundamentals of Python. How often am I live streaming? It's 2 weeks. I mean, 2 days a week, sorry. Yes, what Dave said is correct. If you want, you can just go to an internet website like personally I use learnpython.org. I know that a lot of people don't like it, but I think it can be helpful. So let's see, if you go to Python, you go to Hello World and you ignore all the ads. So here, this is essentially what Dave is talking about. So there's a script right here, and then on the other side there's the Python shell, which should print whatever it is that you run on this side. So it says this line will be printed, this line will be printed. We could do the same things that we're doing in the IDE. And hi Elle, thank you. Oh, they do use Python for everyone? I didn't know that. I don't know what Wireshark is, but so when I first started learning, I used like W3 schools as a reference, and I know that for some people, W3 schools might not be super helpful after a certain point, but essentially, like, we're doing lists right now, and it'll tell you all about lists, right? And I'm not going through everything in this because this is just based off of my memory. No, I don't use Wireshark. That's interesting. And then also, we're going to do tuples, sets, dictionaries. So all of this information is available freely on the web. Yeah, I think that if you network with people who are on the live, then you might be able to find a buddy to practice with. I do really like W3 schools. And then Geeks for Geeks is another one. But I think it might be a little bit more advanced for some things. So this is talking about like the different things Python can be used for. So like web development, data science, automation, and scripting, web scraping, game development, and desktop applications. So I've used Python mostly for automation and scripting and web development a little bit. I've done a little bit of game development. Technically, I've done desktop applications like with a GUI, and I did do some data science machine learning when I was in college. Free Code Academy. Yeah. I use roadmap.sh. Free code. I use roadmap.sh for myself to help me like try to keep on track. Free Code Camp, sorry. So there's two sites. There's Free Code Camp and there's Free Code Academy. Byte by Go I think is different because Byte by Go is more for system design. I do use that. It's also technical interview prep. I only watch or read their newsletters, so I'm not sure. I'm not gonna log in right now. But let's see. Okay, so let's look at Roadmap SH right quick. Yeah, Harvard, Yale, and MIT all have free courses, I believe. O'Reilly books are good. The problem is that they are more expensive. So I have a bunch of O'Reilly books at home, but they can be like $50 to $70 each. So if you're willing to put money into that, that's good. And like it's something that lasts versus a subscription. But if you're not really sure about whether you want to pursue it or whether you really want to get into it, then using free online resources first is good. Thank you everybody for the likes, and thank you for the gifts. I'm sorry if I don't see them. So if anybody has questions about like what should they do, you can check out this website. It's roadmap.sh. So if you're interested in front end, they have a roadmap for that. If you're interested in back end, they have a roadmap. Full stack, they have a roadmap. They also have one for cybersecurity. So I think somebody in the chat, Costa, just mentioned cybersecurity. So you could check out this roadmap right here. It is a bit, it's very granular. So it can be a bit overwhelming by how much information is on here. Yeah, I know. It is a bit daunting, Cody. So, let me see. They have sometimes a more condensed version. So if you just look up fundamental IT skills first, no, not like that. But basically they give you something to work on, and then when you click on a box, then it gives you a couple different resources to look into. You hate the roadmaps, Miko? This is roadmap.sh. So the reason why this is helpful is because it gives you an idea of what the expectations are related to like work and related to your level. So like you can look at what have you already done and what do you need to do more of, for example. So I'm not logged in, but you can just go ahead and basically say this is done, and you can keep track of what your progress is as you go through each of these. And like if you already did like a bachelor's degree, then you've probably already covered a lot of this, but you have to think about like, okay, do you have functional understanding of these things, and do you want to keep getting better at them? It's roadmap.sh, sports extra. Front end is more front end technologies, so that's going to be like React, Angular. There's other ones too, but back end is going to be anything that people don't see. So it might be like in Java, APIs, lots of APIs. So my GitHub username is in my bio, and I post whatever we do during this live to GitHub. For somebody just starting to code, which roadmap should you use? Let me see if there's one that's appropriate for beginners. Let's see. So okay, so it's a skills-based roadmap, right? So what you could do is if you want to learn Python, then you could use this roadmap, and that will help you, because this is just about the language specifically. Or if you wanted to do Java, you could use this roadmap. So it's a lot less hack the box and try hack me for cybersecurity. I think I need to just create like a FAQ and like put the sheet on my okay, so we said free code camp, learnpython.org. What else did we say? MIT, Yale, Harvard, open source course. I'm using I'm using PyCharm for the IDE. So we said free code camp, we said geeks for geeks. And W3 schools. Okay, free code camp, and then what else do we have? Somebody was showing logic. Okay, you said hack the box. Try hack me. Okay, try hack me. Stack Overflow is not really for people who are just learning like tuples and things like that. It's more if somebody already is like working with coding and they get stuck on something. So if I'm not sure what something is, yeah. Stack Overflow is more if you're problem solving and you need to find out information from other people who've already been stuck in that area too. And then they can help get you unstuck because thank you, A Gold. Yeah, exactly. Stack Overflow can be unhelpful because they can be like rude or mean to beginners. So that's not where I would check first, and definitely don't post if you're very new to programming. Like you would post on Stack Overflow like as a last resort, I feel like. Otherwise you might end up hating programming because people are not very nice on Stack Overflow. Thank you, Al. Sorry, I just drank some water. Thank you everybody for the likes. Okay. Oh, Stack Overflow isn't as useful anymore? I think that, well, for one, haven't LLMs been trained on like Stack Overflow, so for one, people might not be as willing to share information because they're worried about their suggestions or advice being used for training, but also a lot of people are now asking LLMs instead of just, helping each other out. Yeah, it's definitely Cody. I don't think I've managed to avoid posting on Stack Overflow, I think, so far. But if in like I would rather go to a mentor or somebody who I know who is just really good in a certain language or with a certain, framework first before going to Stack Overflow. Yeah, exactly, Abraham. There's a lot of different posts there. This is not my personal account. It's strictly TikTok related, and if you are a cybersecurity person, then you'll understand why. Okay, so we're gonna go back. Bye Bye Go, again, is more for technical interview stuff and system design. It's really helpful and it's really interesting. So they have all these different like diagrams to help you understand different concepts that are very complicated, so they break it down. So I'll put that too. You may not be one of the scary SecOps people, but I know that those SecOps people exist. They're one of the people who are lurking. Okay. Alright, so we're going to keep going, and remember this is beginner's Python, so if you are new here, if you're a beginner, then this is for you. If you have more experience, you're free to comment, but I'm not going to be doing anything much more complicated than this. So we have flowers, we have getting the first element or the 0th index. -1 just means it's starting from reverse, so this is going to be the -1th element. High energy, we're removing peonies here, so this is reversing the whole array. Cool, hey, why? Wow, thank you, Kat. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Lizzie. Let me see. So, I'm gonna keep going. Would you ever teach Java? So, hi. Yay, energy. I'm glad. I'm happy for you. I do have a Java beginners on YouTube, but Python is the one that I use for interviewing, so I'm stronger in Python in certain ways. Like data structures, I'm stronger in Python. So that's why I'm showing Python. I think how hard is it to learn? I think it could be a 4, Caleb, but it could be closer to a 6 depending on how easy it is for you to understand certain concepts. Okay, so let me see. All right, let's go. Okay, so we did -1. There's also one that I had to do the other day, so it was like delete flowers at a specific index. So we want to delete the 0th index, and then let's print flowers again. This is weird because the syntax doesn't follow the other ways that we use Python. But you can see here that we deleted hyacinth. So the 0th element was deleted. How do you remember all the commands? So the important thing is that you keep practicing, and when we do things like LeetCode practice, then we have to drill ourselves, and if we get stuck, then we might have to Google it. But if you do Google it, then you kind of just want to be like, okay, you close your eyes and then you try to remember what it was that that you forgot. So you have to try to work without using like Google or, you know, ChatGPT or whatever AI assistant that you might be using. No, don't be a quitter, Caleb. Any trade-offs between using these options? I don't know what you mean, AL Wells. Hi, Jordan. Oh, system design. Thank you. Let me go ahead. I'm not really studying system design right now. Not like that. So let's see, system design. Yeah, you should give it another try. Let's see, system design. School.io. School.io/primer. Is there a free version of Python? Python is free to download on the internet. PyCharm, you don't have to pay for it. So it used to have a community edition. Now the community edition and the ultimate edition are combined. So you just, it gives you a free trial, but then after the free trial, it'll lock you out of certain additional like functionality that it has. Codedux? No, I'm not familiar with that. Is that a game? Yes. We will work on that, Ben. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. We did we showed that that flowers is ordered, right? Lists are ordered. They are indexable. We showed that they are mutable because we can append and we can remove values from the list. We did not show that it allows duplicates, but I'll do that right quick. So roses, and then when we print flowers, then it will show roses twice, and that's all that allows duplicates means. I think you can see it, right? Yeah, okay. My puppy is mad at me. You can go up. Please, go up. What car? Up. She wants to get on the bed, but... What is your advice, someone new to tech? Rachita, could you message me directly? Because that's a more, like, longer conversation. I would need to know more about you to give advice. How to, like, generally what it is that you have transferable skills, so you have to lean on that. Um, but I did transition from something else, so I can share that with you. How does syntax come so naturally? With Python specifically, it uses like more natural language than other coding languages. So we've only done strings, whole numbers, floats. We talked about in Python you use lowercase for the variable names, and we also, well, when we're using lowercase, we use snake case, so we separate words by underscores to make the variable names clearer. Whereas in Java, you might use camel case. So let's see. And we did lists, so we showed ordered, indexable, mutable, and allows duplicates. What age did I start coding in Python? Closer, like early 20s. Just like English, the more you talk, type. Exactly, Abraham. Thank you for saying that. Never had any project to use Python. Been wanting to learn. Adorable. Can Python be used for front end? Does anybody know of a front end framework for Python? I mean, Tkinter. There's a lot of different GUIs that you could use, but not like, it's not, as far as I know, they're not web based. Oh, hey Ash, sorry about that. Oh, this doggy daycare is from the other day. That traumatized me. We're gonna close that one. Yes, data structure is like you have to actually like work on learning the data structures themselves because they are whole concepts on their own, and then you have to learn the syntax for that specific language. Websites backend might be in Python. Is Python and C++ similar? Daughter is trying to learn the code. Any advice? Bubble Hop, what have you already tried? Yeah, Python is more backend. And it's also not good for everything. Like there are other programming languages that are better suited to web development or backend development depending on like what the needs are. So like when they design websites or systems, then they think about like what technology should we use, what languages should we use, what frameworks should we use, and they do a bunch of research to understand what would work best in terms of like things like optimization, like also being able to handle a lot of traffic at once. You can do hacking with Python. I don't think it is possible to get a job where you use ChatGPT strictly to code. I don't sell courses and I don't sell certificates, Johnny Gambino. You're welcome, Marchita. When do I go live? It's on Mondays and Thursdays. Yes, tic-tac-toe for CSS, HTML, and JS. Kivy is better for... Let me look at Kivy later then. Jumping from law to tech. So I said transferable skills, I didn't say tech skills. So your transferable skills, if you're coming from law, is going to be like your communication skills, your attention to detail, analytical thinking, problem solving, like where are there gaps, kind of stuff like that. It's like, just imagine that because you come from like a law background, you're trying to argue about why somebody shouldn't be using certain things, like not syntax, like certain frameworks versus others, or certain data structures versus others. So like being able to argue in a productive way is helpful as a software engineer. I've been programming for over 10 years, but I haven't been programming consistently because I only started working professionally in tech 2 years ago, and I have a master's degree in computer science. You're scared, Rachita. Yeah, permacrisis. I think you're talking about your tic-tac-toe game, right? Hacking with Python is called scripting. Hey, Ralph. Okay, keyboard. That's a Keychron keyboard. Python is extremely forgiving. That's fine, chillin' villain. I don't know FHIR. Hi, Caesar. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up to all the texts. I have no idea what permacrisis is talking about. Okay. I don't do security analyst. Cat, sorry. Yes, I did do internships. Victoria, yes, somebody can be good at learning with coding with self-learning. Okay. I'm gonna keep going. So we have flowers. Let's do tuples. So for tuples, they are pretty similar to lists. I don't share information about my specific experience because of privacy issues, Cat. So let's see, flowers. Let's do fragrances. So fragrances, we're gonna use parentheses because it's a tuple. What type of development? It's just gonna be like backend Java stuff and APIs. So fragrances, let's go ahead and start here. So I'm gonna say jasmine. Anybody else have suggestions for fragrances? So we have jasmine, sandalwood, rosemary, vanilla, thank you. Vanilla, lilac, and eucalyptus. Okay, thank you everybody. So let's see, we have somebody mentioned rosemary, thank you Angie. Lilac, lavender, eucalyptus, rosemary, pow pow. Pow pow is a fragrance. Lavender, ocean. Are you in cybersecurity? I am not in cybersecurity. I've heard CompTIA security certificate is good for it, but I'm not in cybersecurity. Teakwood, thank you. The autocomplete is just a functionality that's available in IntelliJ or PyCharm. Patchouli. Blue Lotus is a fragrance? Tuples, yes, we're working on tuples right now. So tuples are a data structure that's similar to lists. So we just went over lists, right? So like lists, they are ordered and they are indexable, but they are not mutable or they are immutable, and they allow duplicates. All right, so let's go ahead and I'll show you that if we pick fragrances at 2, what will it print? And remember that Python uses 0 indexing, so which value will it print out of the tuple? Rosemary, perfect. I think you already know. Let's see. So we got rosemary, right? So great. All right, so if we print all of fragrances, then we can see that it's just going to print everything that's already there. Jasmine, sandalwood, rosemary, vanilla, lilac, eucalyptus. Python is not the only coding language that uses zero indexing. As far as I know, JavaScript and Java, C++, and C use zero indexing. Do I use MongoDB? Right now I don't, but I have. I used it locally for like a project that I was working on. Alright, so we have fragrances. Let's see what else we have. One thing, so allows duplicates, so we could go ahead and add lilac here again. And you can see that when we print this, lilac is present even though there's another element that is exactly the same. So lilac and lilac, it's fine. But you can't remove, you can't append or add to the tuple, and you can't change a specific value within the tuple, because then the IDE will just complain at you, or Python will complain at you, or you know, when you try to run it. So if we try to do fragrances at O, and we try to reassign it to like happy, and we run this, it gives us an error because it says that the tuple object does not support item assignment, and that's just its way of saying like, or part of it being immutable. Thank you, Mike to God. The application I'm using is PyCharm. Do you prefer using MongoDB, or are there other applications? You mean like databases? So MongoDB is, it's not, it used to be considered a NoSQL database, but they don't want to be called that anymore. So MongoDB, the way that documents or, you know, records are saved in a database is different from the way that they're saved in like SQL. So they're called documents versus like records in a table. And also, you know, like SQL uses tables, whereas MongoDB uses collections of documents. So they're just very different. They have different use cases, but the way that they save documents is like, the structure is like, it's JSON. I wouldn't say I'm good at SQL, but I can use it. I use it for work sometimes, but I don't do advanced queries. I'm not a data person. Immutable just means that you can't change, you can't add or delete from the tuple, and you can't reassign elements. What website do you use to deploy your apps? Oh, sorry, you said APIs. So when I'm working on APIs, I'm usually doing it locally. I do have a website that allows me to deploy like WAR files or WAR applications, but I don't need to do that. Most of my stuff has just been local. Hey, Seabass. I'm usually here on Monday and Thursday. So Strawberry said they had to attach Apollo GraphL to, is it GraphL or GraphQL, to their MongoDB, but haven't used other databases. That's interesting. In school, they teach us like SQL, like MySQL, PostgreSQL, and stuff like that. And then I think outside of school, mostly I learned MongoDB. Yeah, the problem with advanced queries is that you have to make sure not to break something or request too much information at the time or delete things that you're not supposed to. Thanks, Akil. Oh yeah, sorry. We'll go over dictionaries. Hey, physical therapy, thank you for following. Yes. We will work on dictionaries. Tuples are not mutable, or they are immutable. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep going. so have a good night, Mike the God. Sorry about that, Sakil. Okay. So let's go ahead and do sets, and then we'll do dictionaries. Alright, so we have a set. And then let's do drinks. So drinks equals, and then we're going to use curly braces. And then what about PHP? I don't use PHP. I have learned PHP. Like if you want to do plugins for WordPress, they use PHP. Okay, so drinks. Can you list some drinks in the chat, please? I have a hard time coming up with examples sometimes. Tea. Cool. Coke, matcha. Hey, Chaos. Coke. Matcha. Horchata. You're speaking my language. Okay. Horchata. What else do we have? Juice, milkshake, coffee. Oh, sorry. And then coffee. Okay, so when you want, thank you everybody for posting in the chat. We're not doing dictionaries yet. This is a set. Yeah, I'm not doing the one-liner solutions. AI SMR. Thank you, Hazel Eyes. Okay, I'm using a Keychron keyboard. So a set, they are some things that we need to remember is that they're not ordered, they are not indexable, they are mutable, but they do not allow duplicates. Keychron, like okay, so let's see, if we wanted to, we could add, so we could do drinks.add, and we could add root beer, and then we could print drinks. So there's two things that I want you to notice when we print. So notice how it says tea, Coke, matcha, horchata. Now it says Coke, horchata, matcha, tea. They're not in the same order as before, right? So that's what it means by unordered, because the order can change every time you run the program. So you can't rely on this to stay in the same order, and that's why you have to be careful with sets. But it's fine if you're just using it to hold certain data that you want to reference, but you don't care if it's in order or not. So we could, let's see, drinks.add. So you see that root beer was added here. We could remove something. So we could do drinks.remove. We could remove tea. And then let's print this again. And now you can see that tea is not in the list, but root beer is. And then what you could also do is you could try to add coffee to the list again. So to the set. So you remember how earlier we had a list and a tuple. So the tuples we can't add anything to, they're immutable. But for the list we can add things to. With a tuple and with a list, yeah, exactly, it's not indexable. Sets return faster, so it's cheaper processing. Thank you, AISMR. The IDE that I'm using is PyCharm. Yeah, so some things like this, like with sets returning faster and cheaper processing, I might not know those things all the time. So when people call them out in the chat, that's helpful. Or I might not remember. So let's see, let's go ahead and try to add coffee to the list again. So let's do drinks.add. Let's say coffee. And let's go ahead and do print drinks. And actually, let's go ahead and let's do the length. Let's print the length before and after we add coffee, so that it can give you an idea of what I mean by it's not allowing duplicates. So they're both 7. So even though you tried to add coffee again, coffee was not added. This is a set, so we're using curly braces, so this is a set. Sit. And the IDE is PyCharm. Thank you, user. It's a Keychron keyboard. Yes, a set is different from a list. So if we look at the differences again, I can just put them on another line. And you can compare. You can make yourself a table too, just if you're studying. But when you practice, then you won't have to use the table anymore. So when you're first starting, you might have to use, yeah, if you misspell coffee, it'll add to the list. So let's go ahead and try that right quick. So I run this, now it's 7, 8. So before the length was 7, now the length is an 8. And that's because coffee is not the same as coffee. Okay, so, but if we try to add coffee and they're spelled exactly the same, then it's not going to add to the list. So the list will stay the same length. So here, if you wanted to put this in a table, then you could. So you could do something like an Excel sheet, or there's other ones available online. Hi, Alexi. Thank you for joining. Okay, so you might like put, can you see this? Okay. You can put like ordered, indexable, mutable, allows duplicates. And this is how you would study, right? This is a way of making it yourself. Like you can find these things online too, but when you're studying, sometimes it's good to write it yourself, and it's better to write it with paper and pen. I'm glad, user. I hope you're not scared, BDW. I'm not an analyst, no. Show set operations. We did do add, remove. Do you mean like union and what is the other one? Okay, so let me do list. Let's see, list, set, and or tuple and then set. Intersection, thank you. I can show it, but I'll be using a reference for it. Okay, so if we have a list, is it ordered? Yes. Is it indexable? Yes. Is it mutable? Yes. Does it allow duplicates? Yes. Right? Could you scroll down a bit so that you could see? So if you need to clear the comments, just press and hold the screen and then press clear. Okay, thank you, AISMR. Appreciate it. Teaching. Okay, so a tuple, is it ordered? Yes. Is it indexable? Yes. Is it mutable? No. Does it allow duplicates? Yes. So is a set ordered? No. Is it indexable? No. Is it mutable? Yes. Does it allow duplicates? No. So you can use this kind of comparison chart to help you study. That's all I'm trying to say. There's other ones online though. Like you could just look up list versus set versus tuple comparison. So this is the same exact thing that we just did. Why not use a flow chart? I'm teaching Zellaby. Okay. Let's see. So one of the things that you do when you're learning these data structures is that you learn when is it best to use each type of data structure. So if we did, somebody asked for sets. So let me just go ahead and make sure that I have the syntax correct. What? You can do that? No. Give me a second. Minus for difference? What, Khalifa? Okay, I didn't know that. So if we do a set, so here's a set, right? So we could do another set. Let's just take like a subset right quick. Sorry. Let's take a subset. oh no, Control C, Control V. So drinks 2 and curly braces. So you're saying to print drinks minus drinks 2, and this will work to show the difference? Holy crap, I did not realize that. Okay, so yeah, I knew about the function. I just didn't realize you could use like operations in that way. Wow, my mind is blown. Thank you. Okay, cool. So notice here how we did, this is like set diagram. And this is also why you could code things in a bunch of different ways. There's like not exactly one way to code. So this is what we're talking about, right? This is set operations. So we're talking about like list A and list B. So when we're doing the difference, let's see, list A minus list B. I guess it would be both A and B is the intersection. This is the, oh yeah, this is the intersect. This is the union. So this is both of them combined. This is what's in common between both of them. This is if they're disjoint, so if they don't have any similarities or any elements that are the same. Let's see. I have used Fast API, but I haven't done much with it. Let's see. Okay. I'm trying to see what Khalifa said. Okay, you said difference. So if you do add, then that would give you the union. Oh. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, see, this is math that I don't remember completely. Like, okay, so this is A prime intersect B. So then this, I guess, is showing that difference, right? Use, okay, 1 second. So you said use pipe for, so if we use pipe for union, oh, okay, but then let me add like, okay, so yeah. Is this, yeah, okay. Cool, okay, let me see. Yeah, this is part of Python. Fast API would graph these for you automatically in your browser. Oh, I don't understand what you mean by graphing. And then you could use greater than or equals for superset or subset. Oh, I see. Okay, so we would take out like, and then it would return true or false. So is drinks less than or greater than or equal to drinks 2? True. And is it greater than or equal to? Then that's false. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's good to start with HTML. It's just HTML is not a programming language in the same way. HTML is like it's hypertext markup language, so it doesn't work the same way as like a programming or coding language exactly. Level sensei. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, I know I missed a lot of comments. let's see. If you teach yourself or if you do a bootcamp, Giga, like there's no guarantee that either will get you a job. It takes a lot of persistence, and you have to practice leak code, and you have to network. There's a lot of things involved to getting a job, and that's not to discourage you. I just want you to know that there's like no for sure, like even people who have bachelor's degrees don't inherently like get a job after graduation. Hi, Solar. See. Thanks, A. Any website you can use for Java. W3 schools you can use for Java, and Geeks for Geeks. I don't know what it's needed right now means. User, we're just going through, we were going through basic data types and data structures. And then we went to, somebody suggested looking at operations with sets. So we were doing that a little bit. $55 to the 10th power, Daniel? This is just beginning Python. Marlo, it can be hard, but if you start your homework earlier, then it's easier. Hey, Jess. I'm gonna follow you. Yeah, I don't really like how sometimes people say it's very easy to get a job in tech, specifically software engineering or software development. Like, obviously, I want more women in tech. I want more Black and brown people to be in tech. But at the same time, like, if you're gonna go into it, it's better to know, like, what's going on and to anticipate that, you know, you might have difficulty finding a job. I don't feel like it's very easy, and it's not easy to keep a job in tech. It's not easy to change jobs or to, sometimes it can be difficult to like find a good team or a good boss or, you know, working with the tech stack that you want. I don't know what TDP is, Lenny. Yeah, touch and go. It's hard, and then once you get there, it's still hard. Are you from the States? Yes, I'm from the US. You cannot use append with sets. But let's go ahead and let's go to dictionaries now, since somebody said dictionaries, right? So they definitely need people, but right now there's not a lot of emphasis on actually training junior engineers. So because of the layoffs and everything like that, there's like this larger pool of people who's looking for jobs, and then people who have more experience are applying for the same jobs as people who are more junior. PyCharm is my go-to, yes. And the problem is that the same people like with more experience and less experience are competing for the same jobs, so that just makes it more competitive. Is CS degree worth it for internationals in the US? If you've been paying attention to some of the news about the US, you may want to look into Canada. That's all I'm saying. I've been in tech and somehow paid my way to platform architect. Woo, Solar! You are cool. Yeah, you do have to know your stuff. The market is saturated. Has pay dropped? The way that they structure pay has definitely changed, like especially in big tech, like Google. You know, their pay structure has changed. Technology development program. Do you mean like a boot camp? How was your experience with Python? Dude, you've been in tech for 3 years and you're already an architect. How did you do that? Please tell me your secrets. Yeah, exactly. Touch and go. I think it's the same thing right now. Can regular military security translate into tech? I do not have military experience, so I can't tell you that for sure, but I imagine that it does. Especially if you're like interested in cybersecurity, you might have an advantage. Most company will definitely go for remote workers. By remote workers, I'm assuming you mean outside the US. Oh, I didn't even turn on this light. Sorry about that. And now my face is all pink. Most. Yeah, look into the H-1B visa situation. Do you recommend computer engineering? Computer engineering and electrical engineering, yes, because they need to ramp up chip development, and there is more need for like electrical engineers and computer engineers right now than there is for software engineers. But I do know people who did EE or electrical engineering and then they went into software engineering. So you can like still go into software engineering. It would probably be more interfacing with hardware like embedded systems, but you can, if you want to do software ultimately, you can get in through computer engineering and then sort of work your way towards software. I do agree that the job market is a lot of luck. Joel, it says that you're a US veteran. Could you answer somebody's question about does military security clearance, I guess, translate to tech? Sorry, I'm not asking that question well. But like if you have military experience, then can you get into tech? It does feel like a lot of luck. But the other thing too is that you just have to kind of, I hate this type of stuff in like I hate this kind of mentality to some extent, but it is helpful. Like stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So essentially you have to like stay on your stuff and know your stuff. And that way when the opportunity comes, you have a better chance of taking that opportunity. ArcPy, no. Boot camps, it's difficult to know what's a good boot camp. That's why I don't necessarily recommend them. Like I do still suggest people go to college because there's some more, it's like there, to me at least, I get the impression that there's some level of stability associated with a college degree. Like it's more transferable in a way if you don't decide to go into software engineering and you have a degree in computer science, for example. Exactly, nerd boy. You can go into other companies that aren't necessarily in big tech or Fang or Mang or whatever it is. Python to Salesforce, Tableau, and SQL knowledge. That's definitely like, is that data analyst or is it also just data engineering? This is Windows, but for work I use Mac. For True Life Blazor, there's a, I know I'm behind, sorry guys. There's a roadmap.sh website you can go to. Touch and go, I've been in tech for 2 years. Best curriculum, I don't know how the USA compares to Canada, but you could look up the best schools in both countries. Thank you for the rose. Yeah, we can do while loop. Let me do dictionaries first. Cybersecurity is big in the army right now. Thank you, Jess, for answering that question. Yes, I do have a job right now. I'm not from Brazil. Is tech oversaturated? Unfortunately, right now it is, I think. Oh, but I don't think it's necessarily because anybody on the internet can learn. I think there's a lot of information about a lot of topics on the internet. I think part of it is just because tech has had like a reputation for being high paying and like free food in the office, flexible work hours, being able to work remotely, being able to work in other countries. There's a lot of benefits that are associated with it. Internships are important, Kat. There's a lot of benefits associated with working tech jobs, but like as it's become more competitive, then the tech jobs are, some of them are giving less benefits. People say for their work they use Windows and rarely Mac. That just depends. For work, I've only used a Mac, but at home I use a Windows mostly. The site name is roadmap.sh. Yeah, cybersecurity and data science are really big fields right now. Business analyst. Okay, thank you. Python is good for interviewing. It companies don't always use it for back-end development though. So you have to look at like what companies you want to work at, see what their tech stack is. That would give you a better idea of like what, type of language that you want to learn. (2020, 2021) benefits you're talking about during COVID? Hi, Licrin Noir. Cybersecurity will be a good field. I do back end. Okay. Thanks, Nerdboy Q, for putting in firmware, bare metal programming, and system software. Python is development speed and runtime slow. What do you see most for backend? It just depends on the industry, but I use Java. This is not a project, this is just if you want to be a vibe coder, then you have to understand programming first, because if ChatGPT or Claude or some other coding like LLM gives you some code, you need to be able to understand how the code works. So you still need to learn to code. Vibe coding is more like for people who already have experience and they understand how programs work. So it's more difficult for a person who doesn't understand code to create an app. It's no limit. There's somebody in the chat asking for leak code suggestions. I think there's like line 75 neat code. If you are in so this is if you are in college, then you can take CodePath. Oh, that's interesting, Justin. Alright, bye Sakil. Thank you for joining. The finance field is just, it just depends on the company. Yeah, so with Elite Code, you could try Blind 75. One person, maybe it was Neat Code, he said like, give 20 minutes for, you're welcome Peter, give 20 minutes for a problem. No, I don't do C++. I have done C++, but I don't remember it, so I can't teach that. So give 20 minutes for a problem, and after you're done 20 minutes, then cut yourself off and go and look at the answer, and then come back and do it again another day. Java I do for work. Cool, Clib. But I don't usually stream Java. Okay, let me go ahead and move on to dictionaries. So dictionaries are key value pairs. So that's a key value pairs. So let's go ahead. So we're gonna use curly braces, kind of like sets, but the elements are gonna be a key and value pair now. So let's go ahead and do, for each birth month, what type of animal or what type of pet would you have? So let's start with January. What type of pet do you have for January? If you're born in January, what type of pet do you have? Maybe you have a mouse. If you're born in February, dog. Okay, so February, you have a dog. Somebody said worm. So let's say dog. If you're born in March, let's say you have somebody said worm, and then somebody else said cow. So if you're born in April, let's say cow. Rabbit, bird. Okay, I think we're already at the end. Yeah, okay. So we have a couple, but I guess we could add more. So let me go ahead. Okay, so May, we could put bird. Or somebody said dinosaur. May can have dinosaur. And then let's say May, June. Somebody said rabbit, bobcat. Okay, so this is enough. Okay. You can put a list in a dictionary. So one of the things that I was thinking about is that we could, let's see, Control C. So this is a dictionary, right? These are key value pairs. So there's a key on the left-hand side, there's a colon, and then on the right-hand side is the value. So let's go ahead and create a dictionary in another way. So I have flowers here, and then let's go person. Could I have a couple names of people? So let's say Anne. What's another person's name? I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people's names. Joel, Jay, Starry, okay, Luna, Diana, SZA. Oh, why am I not adding commas? You need to use commas to separate the elements. And then Luna, Charles. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we have enough. Oh, let me change this to Charles. Thank you. Okay, we have enough names now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a dictionary in another way. So we're gonna say flowers _2 _ people equals. We're gonna create a dictionary function, and then we're gonna zip, and then we're gonna zip people or person to flowers. and then we're gonna print flowers to people. It's a keycron keyboard. So when we do this, now we get Anne roses, Joel tulips, Jace peonies, Dari gardenias, Luna dandelion. You can't see anymore. Zip. So it's when you take like two lists and you sort of zip them together and you create tuples. And then when you're doing dictionary, then it's going to take those tuples and then put them into separate elements and separate them by key value pairs. So it's going to treat like the first tuple as a key, or the first element in the tuple as a key and the second as a value. So if we just print zip, let me see. So if we print each of them, you see how we get a tuple. You can also enumerate the list to just assign numeric keys in the dictionary. Yeah, we could also do that. So we get Anne, roses, Joel, tulips. And you remember how when we had the dictionary before, it just turned each of these into key value pairs. Thanks, Zach. So can somebody answer Joel's question in the chat, please? Okay, so we're gonna move on. You're welcome. Okay, let's move on. So we have, let's go and do, we're gonna do formatted strings. So I'm gonna put this back in the dictionary. So we're gonna do for person, flowers, in, or flower, in, oh, sorry, let me change this to people. Factor, rename, I'm gonna change this to people. Okay, so for people, flower, in, for person, flower, oh my goodness, person, flower, in, flowers to people, and then we're gonna do dot items. Cool, Zach. Nice to meet you. I do like PyCharm. It's not W3 Schools, but you can learn this on W3 Schools. So for person, flower, and flowers dot, or flowers underscore two people dot items. So items is gonna take each of the elements here as a tuple, right? So each of these elements as a tuple, like we just saw what a tuple was, right? And we could do print, and we're gonna use an F string, and then we're gonna say curly braces, sorry, person, and we're gonna say person buys flower for Tommy. Okay, so maybe they buy it for Tommy's graduation or something, I don't know. Graduation. I don't think it's a good idea for somebody to just specialize in one field, like just says, you're saying not just HTML and CSS. HTML and CSS alone, I don't think was ever enough. Do I do this every day? No. Okay. So what's gonna happen is that we're using a formatted string, right? And we're using curly braces to access variables that are outside of the string. So I think this one, this is, what is this? Let's see. Yeah, so this is string interpolation for Python. That's a big word, but that's what you do. Well, it's interpolating strings, so instead of concatenation, you can do this. Your code is gonna predict the outcome? No, it's just gonna, we're just taking the values from the dictionary. We're breaking up each key value pair into separate variables, so person and flower, and then we're gonna say we're going to use a formatted string. Yeah, I agree, Joel. Like you can use documents or tutorials for a couple hours, and if you have a hard time, if you get stuck, then you can look up YouTube videos. Yes, you can use triple, double, or 3 double quotes to create multi-line strings. Oh, somebody actually said like ad libs, right? So we could do like an ad libs. Let me see. So we could do okay, so let's print this out right quick. So let's run this, right? So Anne buys roses for Tommy's graduation. Joel buys tulips. Jace buys peonies. Dari buys gardenias. Luna buys dandelions. Charles buys roses. Alright, so printf, that's not the syntax that's used in Java here. So let's do an adlibs program, or madlibs. So we could say location equals input, where was, okay, let's do person's name. So person name equals, and then we're gonna get the input. What is the main character's name? Question mark. And then where was, and then we'll use an F string so we can get that person's name. Where was person underscore name going? And then action equals input, and then we can use F string again. F. What was person underscore name doing? Right? Okay, so then now this is taking input from the command line, so I'm going to comment this out. And then what we can do is that we can go ahead and run this, and it'll ask us questions in the command line. So it says, what is the main character's name? Oh, actually, let me finish this. So somebody said multi-line comment, that's why I was doing this. So we could call it template equals, and then we'll use multi-line comment. Ooh, can't speak English. F string is a formatted string. It allows us to get variables from outside of the string. Okay, so we have a template, right? We could say, what is the main character's name? We could say, can you do F like this too? Let's see. Person underscore name was going to the store to, or was going to, and then location, period. Oh, sorry. They needed to buy eggs for their gran, period. Instead, they, and then we can say the action that they did instead. And then we could say gran was not happy with them, period. Okay, so let me just double check right quick, because let me fix the code formatting. Okay, and so let's go ahead and, oh wait, no, I need to print this out too. What are you buying this time? They are buying eggs for their gran. So we're gonna print the template, okay? And so when we run this, okay, so what's the main character's name? From the chat. People like Joel today, don't they? Let's say Linda. Where was Linda going? Starlight. Where was Linda going? I need answers from the chat. Yeah, I can see you use your name. Wow, Mark. Is your name Mark Hamill? McDonald's, Trader Joe's, Kmart, Farm. Well, I don't want to get sued by McDonald's for this live stream, so I'm going to say farm. Farm. What was Linda doing? So remember, she was supposed to go get eggs for her gran, but what did she do instead? She went to the beach? I already put farm. What did she do instead? She was eating cereal. They animal watching, chasing squirrels. Okay. Instead, they chased squirrels, or okay, read. I'm gonna say read a book. Okay, so now, and this is my fault, but Linda was going to the farm. They needed to buy eggs for their gran. Instead, they read a book. Gran was not happy with them. So this took the values that we put in, remember? The reason why it added this spacing is because in the multi-line comment, it also considers the white space that you give. So if we try this again, what is the main character's name? Chasing butterflies? Okay, we'll do that one next. I like that one. Or actually, let me go ahead and let's add a... Don't get mad at me for not using string interpolation, please. I'm cheating, I know. Maria, okay. The person's name is Maria. And then where was Maria going? Print LN. This is not, Douala. Like Diwali? Toronto! Okay, she went to Toronto and instead of getting eggs for her grandmother, I would be mad too. Okay, what was Maria doing in Toronto? We said chasing butterflies earlier, right? Well, that's a choice, Maria. Could you add it to the beginning of the template? Yeah, you could do that instead. That would probably be better. Okay, we'll say Maria was going to a drag show, chasing butterflies. Okay. And this is not verb agreement. I know I'm making a mistake, but okay, so let's go ahead and print this. It says Maria was going to the Toronto. That's not a good idea. No, I don't speak Portuguese. They needed to buy eggs for their gran. Instead, they chased butterflies. Gran was not happy with them. Yeah, we'll do loops. We can do loops next. So there's some issues, right? Like, here, how could we improve the code? Where was blank going? She went to, instead of saying the, say to location. Instead, they did what? Okay, so what did she do instead? What did she do? So this is how we would improve it, right? To logically make more sense and to get the correct verb tense from the user. Or a lot of like applications, yeah, you could check to see if it ends with ing, but then that gets complicated. So what's more likely is that the programmer or developer, whatever, would just restrict the words that could be added to the that could be added as input, because that way they can make sure that it will always be correct. So you might have like a drop down box where you could select the correct word with the correct tense instead of the person inputting it manually. Okay, so that's done. Let's go ahead and we're just gonna do a little bit more because it's been like an hour and 40 minutes. You probably want to get better with your math. like, you don't have to be super strong in math, but you do need to understand math. And sometimes they'll ask you questions during an interview, like to calculate the time complexity or space complexity, and like that can involve math. Discrete math is important, yeah. Okay, somebody wanted to do a while loop, so let's go ahead and we're gonna do the basic one, right? So we're gonna say count equals 0. So while count, we could say is less than 10. Print. Oh, did I do that other update somebody suggested? Where you would just do, somebody was saying instead of concatenating, you would just add the line break in the front of the string. Okay, so print count. And then, because this is a loop, we need to make sure to increment it or decrement it depending on what we're terminating. I forgot to indent. I don't think so. So we'll do a for loop next, but okay. So we need to make sure to increment, otherwise we're gonna have like a infinite loop, because this will only terminate once the count is greater than or equal to 10. But while it's less than 10, it'll keep going. Okay, so if we print this out, what is it going to print? It's going to print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It doesn't print 10 because once the count equals 10, then 10 is not less than 10. We could do greater than or equal to 10, and this will go to 10. Now this goes to 10. Is anybody else having connection issues? Or having difficulty seeing me? If you moved the print, it would be 1 to 9. Do you mean... Oh, yeah. So what this does, the count plus equals 1. After this statement, then it'll add 1. If you did, crap. Wait a second. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking plus plus. Sorry. Just lags in a while. Okay. Yeah, so what Jess was saying is that if we say count plus equals 1 first, then first it'll increment 0 to 1, and then it will print the count. So instead, it's just going to start at 1 instead of starting at 0. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then notice how 11 is actually greater than 10, right? But it still prints, and that's because this condition was already true, and then we incremented right after that condition was true. I probably should do this with a smaller number. So we have 5, now it goes to 6, but if we change the order of the statements, then it'll only go 0 to 5. And you could also just change like where you're first starting off from. So you could start it at 3, and then what would it print? If we start from 3 and count as greater or less than or equal to 5, how many times would this print? Yeah, 4 times. So 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, sorry, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. Oh, that's because I changed the order. But if we did 3, 4, 5, Control X, and then we put it back, then this would print 4 times. So, nope, it prints 3 times. That is because it's going to go directly to 4, 5, 6. So both times it only prints 3 times. 3, 4, 5. Okay, you said single line loop. I don't remember how to do that in Python. 1 second. Okay, let's see. Oh, list comprehension. Okay. Like adding things to a list. Okay. Oh, but I see. So we could create an empty list. So we could say listy equals empty list. And we could say count or index equals 1. And we could say, well, index is less than 5. Then we could do listy.pend pend index. Let me see right quick. Oh no. Okay, when you're talking about list comprehension, so this is the example that they give for list comprehension. So like for I, or you would like square whatever number you have within a range of 10. Is this what you're talking about, Khalifa? Hello. Khalifa, you still there? I'm just trying to make sure that I understand what you're looking for. How often do I go live? I've been going live on Monday and Thursday. It's okay to not know anything about Python. You start from somewhere. So if we printed this, for example, I don't usually th Java. I can see if I can do it later, but not right now. So here we're just gonna do I if item is greater than 2. For item and items if item is greater than 2. Okay. So we could say items equals, and then we could say 0, 1, oh, sorry, we'll just do a range. Range of 5. And then we would say result would equal, and then we would use the square brackets, and then we would say, let's see, are we appending to a separate list? So listy dot append I for I in items. And then you say if, right? Oh yeah, okay, you can do if there. Okay, so if I is greater than 2. Oh, sorry, it didn't print. Oh, print result. Okay, so this is like a for loop built in here, but it's also a conditional statement at the end. Let me see. Listy.append I for I in items. Okay, let me look at something real quick. Range of 5. Okay, oh. How do we do that again? In range. Oh, maybe I just have to do like in range of 5. Let's see. Nope, that's not it either. No need to use append. Let's see for I in range. Oh. Oh, that's what I missed. Oh wait, no, that's not correct. Sorry. I'd have to look at this again. So I'm going to comment this out. Let's see. I haven't done list comprehension as much, especially not in Python. You always didn't like Python. Listy.append should just be I. I didn't say I was giving proper names. Okay, so I for I in range. Okay. So I for I in range of 5, so it gives us 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I is greater than 2, an I for an I. Okie dokie. No, I do not code a trading bot. Alright. See. I went to college to study we went over sets earlier, but I do not do graphs and trees. Yesenia, you can just use TikTok Live Studio. I think it's important to go to college. I think that there's a lot of benefits going to college, but it's up to you. Data frames I don't really use that much, or I mean it's for pandas, so if somebody wants to learn like do data science and stuff, then you can go to Kaggle and let's see, look at data sets. Ooh, crocodile species. So you would just like download this whole data set, then you would parse that CSV file to load your data, and then you would use pandas, and then you could go to your terminal and type in like Jupyter Notebook. Okay, one second. Let me go to Python. You have to enter the Python shell, and then I think you do Jupyter Notebook. No! Wait. I misspelled something. Why am I not able to do this? Oh, I know. I think I know why. Okay, let me exit this. And then let me clear this. Okay, so Python Jupyter Notebook. Python Jupyter Python 3. It's okay. Maybe I didn't do it. Maybe Python. One second. Let me do pip install Jupyter. What happens if you just create the file? I don't know what you mean. Have I worked with people that learn by themselves? Yes. You should go back to coding, low key, sorry. Let's see. Okay, so pip install. Oh, that's why. Okay, pip install notebook. And then we run Jupyter Notebook. Yeah, I forgot that I didn't install it in this computer. Sorry about that. Crypto wallet from start to finish? Nope. VENV? Yes. Virtual environments. Non-demoy. No, 8-ball. I already said I can't. Okay, so let's see. Is it Jupyter? Or let me clear this first. Clear. Do you ever lose passion for coding? I think you can, because there's so much stress, especially if you like work a full-time job, then it might be difficult for you to have like interests outside of work. Oh yeah, I think my computer is slowing down. Sorry about that. Why are you not? Okay, now it's working. All right, so this opened a notebook for me, a Jupyter notebook. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. And I don't have any examples here, but let me see. File, new notebook. Okay. Python 3, okay. And then instead of like coding in the IDE, you can just code in here. Well, this is another kind of IDE. So you could just do like int. Oh no, don't do that, sorry. I equals 10. And then we could add another block, and then we could do I plus 12, or I equals I plus 12. Alright, so we would want to run them sequentially, and then we would do, let's see if we run, okay, print I, run, okay, so it's printing, but if you didn't run this one first, restart the kernel, cancel, run selected cell. Yeah, but anyways, you could use this for the for your IDE instead. Does PyChar not allow .ipynb? I'm not sure. Do they? I think that they do actually. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. I didn't realize it though. Jupyter Notebook is a library or package that you could use to do like data analysis stuff, but it's also like, well, Jupyter Notebook is an IDE, right? Let's see. Yeah, it's like an interface. But yeah, so it has been 2 hours, so I'm gonna go ahead and get going. Thank you, everybody. Cool. Thank you, Jess. Jupyter Notebook is a package that provides a specific coding interface, so it uses code blocks. So I could do I equals 5, and then this one, and then I could add another one, And I could do h equals I plus 10, right? And then print h. Okay, but if I try to run this by itself, I should have an error. Why does it show me this? Yeah, okay, I have an error because it says I is not defined because I didn't run this code block first. Streamlit I have heard of. Markdown blocks. Oh yeah, you can so if I do this, run it from the beginning, we don't get an error because it actually ran the first code block. I forgot how to do it. It's like I know it's very helpful for like is it like, let's see, oh here, add the markdown. So this is a header. Oh, okay, and then we go code. And so it helps you to document your code. I didn't know about R notebooks. The next class will be on Monday. I use Python for automation and scripting. Oh, you can change this to convert to markdown. Yep. And then it's like, depending on the number of hash or pound signs you use, then it'll change the size of the header. And then you can use like bold and stuff. It uses markdown language. Okay, I'm gonna go now, but thank you everybody for hanging out. Thank you, Jess, for also commenting and providing additional information. Good night. I don't do Python courses. The only thing I do is like lives, and we're doing just intro to Python. Alright. Thank you, Loki. Where can you learn full Python? LearnPython.org, W3 Schools, Geeks for Geeks. Alright. Hope everybody has a good night or a good day, depending on your time zone, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.